Mindfulness, 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 mindfulness. It seems to come up in every discussion I have. I just got off podcast recording with Intuitive Playground, and they were asking me how and why did you jump into mindfulness? And I have to say, it wasn't something that I was looking to do myself. I actually had a guide, somebody that comes in your life and sort of pushes you along in a particular direction or to a group of people or even activities. And Jill was my guide. I showed up in her office one day saying, I am depleted. I'm depleted. I have so little joy and I don't know how to fix it. And she was like, You need to go to mindfulness training. So I showed up with a notebook and a coffee, and I was really focused on kind of getting my to do list done for the week. And as you can imagine, my mindfulness teacher is like, What is the notebook for? And why are you so busy writing? We're supposed to be in the present moment. And my response to her was, Well, I have so many ideas. I just want to make sure I get them all down. And she was like, Gosh, you know what? You're going to really struggle in this class if you can't leave your notebook in the car. So, one of my first lessons in mindfulness training was I had to leave my notebook in the car. I had to really participate in the discussion and I had to be present for the different exercises. And to be honest with you, I was never present. I was always focusing on what I had to do next or reflecting what had already been done. And I was very rarely in the present moment. So I think for many of us, it's really hard to be mindful because we're taught so often to get there, get it done, do it now. And we're busy always strategizing to make that happen. So I think for many of us, the second tip is, are you present? Have you been in the present moment lately? Because for many of us, we don't even know how to be present because we've been taught so often not to be present. So I think for many of us, we just have to take a few minutes to just be present. And to do that, I just snap my fingers or tap my toes, or I pick things out that are in my surroundings that I may have seen 100 times or 2 times or no times. But being present, I pick things out in my environment that gives me the opportunity to be here right now. And so, why do you want to be present? Well, being present, you get a lot of messages from the universe. The universe is constantly communicating with us through people, things we hear, things we see. And sometimes we're lucky enough to have inner wisdom, to have these nuggets of information come through to us to say, hey, go right, go left. Why don't you get that certification? Or why don't you pursue that group that you've been thinking about starting? Or why don't you start working off the side of your desk? Many times we're so busy planning or reflecting that we're not in the present moment to hear that inner wisdom, to hear that guidance from our soul. And so I really encourage you to listen to a mindful video on YouTube, maybe download an app, really just practice being in the present moment. And once you sort of get a hang of that, then you can really get a handle on the inner voices that you are constantly using to guide yourself. And for many of us, those voices are not super popular. Those voices are often protecting us. They may be filled with fear or anxiety. They may be telling us why it's not going to work or why we're not ready. And those are the voices that really helped me understand what was holding me back on my journey. Because even though I was grateful enough to have this inner wisdom come through, the voices in my head would say, Not now, not ever, you're not ready, maybe later. And I had to have some space between myself and those voices and those stories I was telling myself to give myself permission to check it out, to do a little research, to make that first phone call. So for me, mindfulness was really the catalyst that gave me permission to leap into my life's work. And that's a lot of what I cover in my third book, Seeking. And I'm going to be sharing nuggets periodically here, but I'm so glad you're here to join us. And thank you for allowing me to share the tips of why mindfulness was really a critical path for me. With that, I will talk to you soon and thanks for watching.